All right, everybody, welcome back to In the Mind of Music with Nate and Isa. Tonight, joining us, we have Nick and Sagan from Los Angeles, California, and they are from Hail Sagan. Welcome to the show, Nick and Sagan.
Hey.
How's it going? And Sagan, I can barely hear you there. Are you there?
Hi.
Oh, hey, there you are. All right. So yes, thanks again for calling. We're really, really excited to talk to you guys about Hail Sagan. You guys have been just kind of buzzing all over the social media, walls and everything, and people are starting to talk about what you guys are doing, especially since you guys just started to tour with I Set to Kill, right?
Yes.
We played a few shows with them, yeah.
Yes. So, are there any? This is a question later on, but I guess I'll just ask you now since we're talking about it. I'm really excited to see because you guys were talking about in your social media that there was going to be some more dates announced soon.
Yeah, there will be.
Okay.
We just started working on locking in a tour with a larger band, but we haven't announced it yet. So
Okay.
the way it works is, once all that stuff gets worked out with the bands, then all the little details have to happen, and so we're not allowed to announce anything till the other people get it all worked out. But there will be a tour happening in the summer.
Okay, so cool. So listeners, if you've been following Hail Sagan, definitely keep your eyes on their media platform so you can find out if they're going to be at a city close to you, near you. So tell us.
Yeah, we have a website with all our info. It's hailsaganofficial.com, and that's where you can find all of our social media, touring calendar, and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
Great. So tell us, what is the Supreme Order of Saganism? Can you guys go into that a little bit?
It's our fan club.
Okay.
Who
fan club, so.
who came up with the name? I love it.
Well, my name is Sagan, so it actually, previous to me working with Nick, it had come up in the past, like, oh, how cool would it be to name, my music project after my name and call it, like, Hail Sagan, because it was kind of a thing that went around with social media back then where people would say it, and I would go, oh, that's cute, And then, which I think it started with, like, Carl Sagan, the scientist, and then it just, like, people found that my name was Sagan, so then they started saying it, and then, it was thrown around that would be a cool idea, and then when Nick and I got together and decided to write some songs, we just started calling it Hail Sagan, and that's just kind of where it went from there.
You don't have a lead singer named Sagan and not call the band that.
Yeah, no kidding.
That would
Pretty
be
obvious.
true. It's kind of cute. Yeah, it is. It is nice. And you guys call your followers Saganists, is what I was reading as well. It all just kind of
they're
flows.
Saganists, and they follow the Supreme Order of Saganism. And
That's awesome. Your parents must have been thinking in the future.
Yeah, no kidding, right? That's cool.
Yeah, so it kind of all worked out with that, and so in terms of branding and kind of keeping track of things and people and everybody, I guess like a lot of bands have names for their followers or how they label things, and so it kind of just was convenient how it worked out that way.
Yeah, and you're right. A lot of bands do have names for their followers. September Morning has names for their followers.
Oh, a bunch of them. Justin Bieber, as stupid as that is to say.
Right.
But
Believers, aren't they?
The Believers.
I love the name. I was like, damn, that genius.
I know, me too. It's pretty cool.
But Saganisms and Saganists, that's I can't even begin to explain how awesome that is.
Yeah, it kind of all worked out, and it seems like it's meant to be, so we're just rolling with it.
Right. So how did you guys hook up? I know that, Nick, you're from Powerman 5000. How did you guys hook up and form Hail Sagan? And not just, you guys just did this not too long ago, right?
No, it was back, we started talking about putting together a project or possibly just working together back in, I think it was April. Was it April, Nick? I can't remember. I think it was April.
I think, it was either March or April.
So he basically just asked if he could write me a song. He was on tour with Powerman. So when we decided to do it, he had left to go on tour with Powerman. He left for like a month. So I started, brainstorming some stuff. And when he got back, we just went right into the studio and worked on Dark Side. And we really didn't know what was going to happen with it. So we just put it out there, and we did a video with it. And we had no idea what the reception would be
Mm-hmm.
from his fans and the fans that I had previously and new people and everything like that. And it just it just did really well, and everyone liked it, so we just kept going with it.
Right.
Pretty much this whole project, we've just been like, okay, this works, let's keep going, and then another thing would work out, another thing would work out, and it just kind of snowballed.
Yeah, there wasn't it wasn't like we sat down and came up with a business plan or like a professional type contract. There wasn't anything like that. It was like, you want to write? Okay, let's write. Let's see how this sounds. Let's put this together. And then, the lyrics I wrote were about bullying. And then so I was like, well, if we're going to do a video, let's do it about bullying and stuff like that. So we just kept going with it. That's what came natural, really. There wasn't any plan for any of it.
Yeah, sometimes the best things just happen without really much planning, right?
I would say not even sometimes,
Well,
always.
Yeah, I think so. So
I
speaking,
think when people put too much effort into something in the sense of we're going to structure this a certain way and we're going to copy something and make it, that doesn't work. I've been in projects that are like that. You just run around in circles.
Yeah, this project just happened 100% organically, and it just keeps going and refueling its own fire. And it's actually like one of the easiest projects that I've ever had to be involved in, because it just keeps going on its own.
I'm jealous.
It's not easy in that sense. It's hard in the amount of work that's involved. I don't know if our fans even know the amount of work, the amount of hours that we put into this project. It's more than a 9-to-5 job, and it's not 9 to 5. It's all the hours at any given time, and working with people from different time zones, and just everything is constant. I always joke around about how I wish there were more hours in the day, because I have this whiteboard on the wall with all the tasks that we need to complete. There's one for Nick, there's one for me, there's one for the entire band. And it's as I'm crossing them out, I'm adding more. That list of things never goes away.
Oh yeah, you're talking to two really, really busy people that are constantly 100 hours a week, probably more than that.
You bring up the whiteboard and there's one right behind you.
Oh yeah, I mean, I totally understand what you're saying. So
and they totally saved my life.
Oh yeah.
If it wasn't for that whiteboard, I probably wouldn't have called in on time. So it's up to me and Nick for us to write down every interview, everything that's going to happen, because if I don't have it written somewhere, I even have reminders on my phone.
Oh my God, so
everything just kind of clumps together in your head, and you're like, oh my God, did I forget something? And what do I got to do next? And it's just constant. And I'm not complaining. I love it. I feel blessed. It's just that it's as easy as it was for Nick and I to come together artistically, and we have so much in common in so many ways that it is easy for us, naturally for us to make this work. The business end of it and all the other stuff, the hardest work I've ever done in my life. Harder than going to college.
Well,
I always tell people that don't go into the music industry thinking it's going to be an easy ride. It's not. It's very hard.
I'm definitely glad that I gave you guys a reminder email then. It's so glad, because sometimes I'm super thankful for reminder emails myself. So about the writing process, I heard you guys talk about the writing process. I know a lot of artists faced a lot of challenges nowadays with writing new material. I mean, gosh, you have an industry that's so saturated with bands coming up and jumping up left and right every day. How do you guys overcome the writing challenges that you might face as a band to stay relevant and stay, new and unique?
I mean, I try not to pay attention to what's going on. It sounds very ignorant, but it's true. I really have a very small clue about what's going on right now in terms of the industry. I'll every now and then peek in to see kind of what's happening, but I really don't keep on top of it in the sense of I don't want to be inspired by the trends. I'm inspired by my own life experiences. Everything that I've written comes from the heart. It comes from an experience. I write when I'm feeling really intense, and I'm very attached to my emotions. So for me, it's it's a cathartic experience in a sense of where I just write with what I'm going through at the moment. And so I don't really know about what's happening out there. Then, of course, in terms of staying fresh and not sounding like we're coming from a different era, or rather, I will tune in a little bit, but for the most part, I try not to pay attention to what's happening out there. Nick, do you have another way? I don't know how you do it.
For me, on the music side, it's just how I write. It's some of the songs, some riffs in some of the songs I wrote years ago and just resurfaced them, and then some of the other songs I wrote on the spur of the moment, and it's just another thing coming together organically like that. It's just how I write my songs.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I'll have fans write to me and say, "Oh, you remind me of this person," or "Have you heard of this band?" And I have no idea what they're talking about because what I listen to is so different than what a lot of those people are listening to, and like my inspirations and stuff. I don't know what people. I think a lot of people just assume, and so like, yeah, they'll say, "Oh, I can really hear that influence of so and so," and I'm like, I've never even heard their band before. Like, I don't know, and I appreciate it.
90% of the time.
I don't even know.
Well, I mean, isn't that the way
no
of
idea.
everything? How people just like to kind of like make up your sound for you.
Yeah.
It's
humans,
just so interesting how that works.
Partly it's a fallacy of being human in that our brains are programmed to follow patterns. That's it's good in the sense of that it makes the brain work easier and it makes us kind of connect the dots when you see those words where it's like written in weird ways and it goes, "You're so smart because you can read this, but it's not written in letters." It's your brain filling in the gaps. And so we're designed to think in patterns, and so like of course like the average person's going to go, "Well, she's a girl and she sings, so she must sound like this band."
Oh yeah.
It's just like the way humans think.
Totally.
So, but it definitely like I think it's awesome when someone says to me like when they go outside the box and they're like, "Oh wait, no, this is what I think," and you don't sound like anybody else. And I really get excited when someone's like, "Oh, you're doing something completely different and new." I'm like, yes, that's exactly what it is. But can't expect everyone to look at it that way because there's consumers in music, there's producers in music, there are consumers who are also producers, and so you kind of get a different, viewpoint.
And that's the good thing about art is it's subjective. So we're just glad everybody likes it, and then from there they can formulate their own idea of what we sound like.
Sure.
And it's going to be different for everybody.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But the experience is basically everyone's personal experience. So if someone feels that it's like similar to something they've heard before, then that's their experience, and the next person might think differently. As far as I know, though, we just write from the heart. Like I said, especially the lyrical content, like everything every song that I write has a really deep meaning, and it's something that's touched me personally to the point where I felt compelled to write about it. It's not like I go, "Okay, let me find some words to fit into the song." It's not like that. It's like, what is at the moment pissing me off, or what's like, making me feel a certain way. And then I start writing. That's what happened with Dark Cloud. I mean, the situation I was in at that time, and it wasn't the first time where I've had, I was bullied pretty badly in school as a kid, and a lot of it was just the way that I looked. Like, I wasn't like typical girls my age at the time. It was like I chose to have like colored hair, and I would put on weird makeup and just dress weird, 2 different shoes, whatever it was. And my mom said I was like that since I was a little kid. And I got picked on for it really badly, and I had a really hard time, and I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. I didn't get invited to all the parties. I still don't get invited to all the parties. I'm an outcast. I'm different. I've always have been.
It's okay. You don't have to be part of the cool kids.
Right. Well, I never have been, and I was never popular. I didn't really know what it was. Like, I thought it a lot. Like, I got upset about it a lot. And I was always like, and I learned how to embrace it later on, and now I embrace it, and I go, okay, well, while I'm not popular, I'm popular with fans, but like not popular with like maybe like cool people around town or something. But while they're trying to be cool, I'm trying to be successful. So it's like it actually benefited me in the long run to be pushed away, because I feel like I got to focus on cool stuff. But yeah, so writing Dark Cloud was easy because I was going through a similar situation, and I feel like people like me who get pushed around or bullied for whatever reason tend to have it kind of follow them through life. And as you get older, you get stronger and you learn how to deal with it better. And so for me right now, the best way to deal with it is, writing about it and helping other people. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, that's commendable. And you're speaking about Dark Cloud, which is the latest music video that you guys have available. Comes right up on when you, go to your Facebook page and everything else on your website, everything. And that video I watched earlier, and honestly, I can relate to what you're saying very much so because I had that, growing up as well. But that video particularly brings awareness to issues of harassment, abuse, and suicide. But at the end of the video, I noticed that masks are placed on the faces of the individuals that are going through this pain as sort of a way to comfort the pain almost. Can you tell us a little bit about the meaning of the masks?
Yeah, I mean, it's metaphorical in the sense of music saves people. I know it saved me. Without music, I don't know where I'd be. And not just as an artist or a producer of music, but as a consumer of music. I mean, there's plenty of bands that got me through life. Music just tends to have an emotion. And for most people that are attached to music, that emotion, dictates how they continue on through life. Like whether or not you're going to try to commit suicide, or if you're going to become, kind of wallow in your depression, or if you're going to get up and like rise up, get out there and make a change. Like, I feel like music is like the running theme behind the choices that those of us who listen to music make. So I think those snaps in the video represent that, A, don't kill yourself. D, don't shoot, the sexually harassing boss, or, maybe don't do something to the guy who's beating you in the room. Like, there's another option. So the mask is a metaphor for the other option, being that you don't have to resort to the most, violent way of solving a problem. There's another way. And then it also meant, because music saves a lot of people and it's a comfort. Mm-hmm. It was also the idea behind the mask is that anyone could be wearing the mask. It's not just a bunch of musicians under a mask trying to be cool. We all have suffered our own issues, and we're all continue to struggle with life's issues. And mm-hmm. so, that the people are not alone, that we're all wearing the mask, we're all behind it. And, and then in terms of wearing the mask on stage, it just kind of goes back to that whole idea of like, you never know who's going to be under there. We've had a couple different players under there. We've had different people under the mask play with us. A few have been from some really big bands, and we're going to continue that. So sometimes you won't know who's under there. While we have mm-hmm. some mainstays in our bands, you never know who's going to be jumping on the drums. It might be someone from one of your favorite bands who happens to be there that night. Of course, we'll be happy to reveal to everyone. Uh-huh. So we don't have to keep questioning. But that's it's all about the whole anonymity, and
that's
everyone can work
really
together.
Cool. That is actually really cool because I guess think of it as in the artist perspective, then they can just be the musician that they once were behind that mask and not have to worry about somebody being, oh my God, I got to take a photo of that person because he's so famous from XYZ band. And oh my God. And then they can just be, under that mask, just playing for the love of the music and not knowing.
Absolutely.
And I totally respect
that. On it too.
Yeah.
And we want to expand on it too. We want to offer the ability for like fans, if they're really, really good at playing an instrument and they learn a song and they write to us and they say, hey guys, I can play the bass on Dark Cloud, like perfect. Here's a video of me doing it. Could I, when you come to my city, could I wear a mask and jump up there on stage and play with you? We would totally be down for that. So awesome. While we haven't worked out the logistics of that yet, we definitely want to incorporate that in the future. So that would be another way to do it, where say somebody is a really great musician, but they have like stage fright, or they just don't want to put their face out there because of their job, or whatever the situation may be, they could wear the mask and come up and rock out with us, wear the mask, do it, leave, and they had their time to have fun and do it. So we want to try to grab as many different people that we can to have the masks and like make it kind of like a fun thing for everybody, as opposed to just us being in a band up there, kind of showing off like everybody does.
I absolutely love that idea and the way that you're talking about using the masks for that purpose. I mean, it's cool because it makes it about the music at that point, like you said, not about who's playing the song. And it also allows anybody to identify not only with the music, but potentially be a part of it as well, which I think is just an awesome idea. I really like that idea.
Well, thank you. I mean, we approached this, and I think Nick would agree, like in a fun way. Like we wanted it to be, we didn't want it to be a typical band situation and, okay, here's a bunch of people who play instruments. Like, that's been done a billion times, and so has math. So how can we incorporate something different in this that maybe someone else hasn't? And that was the fun aspect of it. Like, how can we make this a more interesting experience for everyone, both the band and the fans that come to the shows? So it's kind of like you can choose to go to any show you want. There's a lot of shows that are going around. In fact, that oversaturation of the market thing. But what makes you choose coming to our show over different shows could be the factor that we're just having a hell of a lot more fun. And we're going to incorporate all this stuff. And you can bring masks and get on stage. I just feel like kind of making it more accessible to people as opposed to just coming to watch, but being part of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Well, instead of our fans just being fans in the crowd, they're part of something.
Yep.
And so, it makes it a lot cooler because instead of having that separation, it just brings everybody into one big family. So,
right.
And that means a lot to me as somebody who's always been left out. Like, and that's not something I've talked about a whole lot with my fans, but I think they kind of know. Sometimes people will ask me like, "Oh, something must have happened to you," and I don't like to get into it. I want to focus on the music, but like being left out and not feeling like a part of the group. I mean, even moving out to Hollywood from the East Coast, like I didn't know anyone out here, and they didn't embrace me with open arms, and they continuously don't embrace me with open arms. It's like I've never fit in anywhere, and so if I can extend that to the fans and to other people hey, we're going to open up our doors to all of you. And
Right.
there's no like, you don't have to be popular or famous, or you can just be anybody. I feel like it's just a good connection to have.
Right. So yeah, that's awesome, and I definitely respect you guys for what you're doing. So how do you want the music that you make to influence and or affect the people that hear it? As, aside from obviously the song Dark Cloud and everything, but on other songs that you make, what is the message that you think, or is there just like a different message in every song?
Every song's different. We have a song called The Mirror on our current EP. It's about drug abuse, and because of where I come from, and I know it's starting to become a problem throughout the country, but where I come from, there's like an epidemic of opioid addiction and like overdose. I know way too many people have died. It just doesn't even make sense to me anymore from drug addiction. And it wasn't even like, the typical drug addict story. Oh, a person goes wrong, decides to do drugs, makes bad decisions, dies. It was like people had back pain and went for back surgery, and doctors gave them like opioid medication, but like didn't really like, I guess, supervise it. And when the person got addicted, doctor cut them off and said, oh, you can't have any more of these opioids. They had already become addicted to it through a real valid prescription, and then not knowing what to do and not being offered any services on how to fix the problem, they go out to the street and they move on to another drug like heroin. And these are like not kind of people that are stereotypical. These are like everyday people who have families and jobs, and their whole lives are destroyed, not just their people around them. And I've had people in my family who have suffered with drug addiction, and I have people that I've been close to. So it's touched home for me in the sense of I feel like I have to speak about it in a way. So of course, writing for me was the easiest way to talk about it, and so that song was about that. But I think overall, despite a lot of the songs having, in a sense, a down kind of, not negative, but like talking about suicide or bullying or drugs, the point of all the songs though is hope. So if you listen to the lyrics and you understand, like, you can rise above all this stuff. Like, if you really listen to the lyrics, like, yeah, these are situations that we're not going to ignore that happen in our lives, but we can rise above them and we can overcome them. And that's what the main message of everything I write is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's like all like kind of like giving people that power instead of just, I don't want to write songs that are going to make people even more depressed. So it's like acknowledging the situation and then offering hope that there's a way out,
Yeah, and much like your music video for Dark Cloud, when I watched that music video, it was, I've been through certain situations, I guess, without talking too much about that. But yeah, I related.
Yeah.
And then when I saw this, the ending, I got to tell you that it just gave me that sense of comfort for the people I was watching going through these. And I got like chills, and I felt like, wow, that is an amazingly powerful ending of this music video. And I literally felt that, you get the goosebumps and stuff. I felt it because I related. And I'm sure a lot of people, sadly, right now going through the situations relate. So as long as you guys are keeping the situations as real as what they are right now, but then focusing on making a full 180 to a positive note on, there is that open door where you can walk in, make those choices to make your life better. Every day is a chance to turn it all around. I think that's great. And it's not just all about, the misery of it all. It's all about, you can get out of that. So I respect that.
And like
definitely.
knowing that you're not alone too. Like you're saying,
you're not alone.
You can identify, I can identify, I'm sure almost everyone at some point can. I think that no one's really untouched from this kind of stuff, especially people who are dealing, people that are interested in music.
Right,
a lot of us turn to music because of these situations. So I feel like we all have this in common.
Oh yeah, music
it'd be
saves.
hard to find someone not.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well, and that video even probably hits home with the abusers too.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does.
Because I'm sure they're going through just as much stuff to become like that too. So.
Oh yeah, I mean.
Well, it's cyclic. I mean, these types of things are cyclic in terms of bullying. Like, you get bullied in say 7th grade, and then in 8th grade, you start teasing someone not because you think it's okay to do, but because you're being taught, like you're learning that it's okay to tease. And then it takes someone to tell you, hey, don't tease, and you hurt someone's feelings, then you go, oh wow, this isn't right. Some of us anyway, and others maybe just continue to do it. But there's a cycle, and it can go throughout all your relationships where, back and forth with, I guess people kind of puffing their chest up and saying, I'm stronger than you or something. And sometimes the bullied becomes the bully and vice versa. And there's all kinds of things that can happen. I mean, we're all guilty of teasing each other at some point, but sometimes teasing goes too far. And those of us that realize it, that, oh, I'm really sorry, I apologize, I don't mean to be that way. But then there's others who don't ever get it, that continue to do it, and it gets worse and worse. And so there's different levels.
Sure. Yeah, and I get that completely. Thank you guys for sharing that with me. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the industry right now. Industry is kind of moving towards artists just kind of becoming DIY, independent. They're really not shopping their albums so much to record deals, labels, because they feel like they can get more out of just doing it themselves. Do you think that an artist that is newer can find success that way versus signing to labels as means of support?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I think that right now, unless you're like, okay, this is the thing, like, if you're bringing in millions of dollars, let's say, for instance, then, then at that point, would you want to say, well, maybe I need a label to help, but do you really need a label to help? No. Let's say you're bringing in $10. What can a label do for you? You have to remember that the label is like the mortgage company. If they're going to lend you money, you have to pay it back in interest. So it's not free money. So
yeah, never free money.
So if a band's struggling financially, they should come up with like more intelligent ways, like smart ways of like using social media and internet to find ways to bring income in. Because just signing with a band, it might bring in the short term a few dollars, but it's not really going to be enough anyway. And then you get stuck, and then you have to pay it back, and it's very expensive. So unless you've got like a lot of money to play with, and even then, I mean, if you've got all that money, why do you need a label? I don't know. I feel like labels are becoming antiquated. Like, what's the purpose anymore? If you can get a good manager, and you can get a good booking agent, and you can get, you get a couple people to help you run some stuff, and you get a publicist. What else what does a label do anymore after that? I don't know. I don't know what their purpose is at that point. So.
Well,
they just modify their contracts, I guess.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I mean, it used to be that you'd have to have a label in order to get a quality recording that was even worth being able to put out that you could make money off of. But now with everything being so, and I don't want to say cheap because it's all extremely quality products and stuff going out, but with it being the cost of it so low, and you only really having to spend anywhere between $5,000 to get enough equipment to actually record yourself now, it makes more sense to stay independent at that point. I agree.
Absolutely.
For sure.
I mean, it's not even that it's cheaper. It's just more accessible. People are going to classes to learn how to produce and engineer.
Yep.
You can get Pro Tools, and you can get a rig set up in your room. And if you're talented enough to make it sound good, find a friend that can master. You can do it for a very small amount of money compared to, back in the day. So yeah, that cuts out that. And then in terms of like making a music video, again, there's so much software. There's so many opportunities to make videos. I feel like for those reasons, you don't need to hire, you don't need a label to give you money for that. And then I think the other thing was like, in terms of like booking shows and whatnot, it still does happen. I've seen it even as of recently that, some people want you to be on the label still. It's still this antiquated idea that, oh, you need to be on a label for me to talk to you. You just have to fight against it. I think if enough people keep fighting against it, eventually it'll just become the way of, the law of the land that you don't need to be on a label to get ahead. And I just think that like bands right now, if you're a small band and you're starting off, you shouldn't sign to a label because you're basically throwing away your success in your career. Like, you're not making a lot of money as it is. If you sign to a label right now, just surely they're going to take all that money and you're not going to have anything.
Right.
Well, when you start your band, you should establish worth in your band first, because the label will come in and go, okay, these guys aren't worth anything. Here's $100 or whatever. Sign to us for free. Whereas if you build your band up to where you're bringing in an income, then they'll go, okay, these guys are worth this much, so let's give them this much to try and buy out their product.
Oh yeah.
You'll have a better time.
I think like
you can
I
definitely
think that, like,
bargain.
A lot of these labels are like the amount of money they're offering to sign bands is a small. Okay, maybe like you're 18 years old, there's four of you. They come and say, we're going to give you $20,000. You guys freak out. That's $20,000. Oh my God, that's a lot of money. It's not. It's not a lot of money in the music industry. You will blow through that so fast, and then you'll owe 40 with an interest and everything else. and then you don't have a whole lot to show for it, it's better to hold out, in the long run, for either a better deal, or until you make enough money to support yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I just wouldn't do it, and I just feel like bands don't give themselves enough credit too. Like, I see a lot of bands giving away their music for free. Why are you giving your music away for free? Someone tell me, please.
Yeah.
Because look, we saw U2 do it. Maybe Justin Bieber did it. I don't know, but they're like billionaires. They can do it, and it doesn't even scratch like they're living large. Like, they don't care. They can give away everything.
It's a sales technique for them.
Sure, yeah.
Just setting a bad example though to the smaller bands who think it's okay to do that. Stop giving out your music free. Get your music off Spotify and don't put one song out there. And then if people want to hear more, they can buy it from you. If you give it all away for free, no one's going to ever put any worth into your band, especially a label.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
And
then they're going to expect free music forever.
Right. And you guys just touched on another question that I asked, so I don't need to ask that question. So for sure, thank you for actually mentioning that, because it was one of the, I was going to ask you guys what you guys felt about that. So we've publicized the theme of tonight's show, and I think I kind of pre-warned you guys about this one. We're talking about the occult and how it relates to the metal music genre, the genre that seems to go under fire with wild conspiracies, making it out to be related mostly to the occult. So unsurprisingly, most metal conspiracy theories involve Satan, Satanism, and the dark arts. The question is, do you believe any of them? Do you think that it relates at all, and why or why not?
Well, I mean, there's different genres of metal, and that's where we have to break it down too. There's like the music we're doing, which I'm sorry doesn't sound anything like Iron Maiden, and then there's like music that like Slipknot's doing that doesn't sound anything like What's Pain from Sweden. Like, everything is so different in metal that I think it's like too broad of a genre to really push it all into like a cult or Satanism. But there are some metal bands, and I'm talking more along the lines of like Slayer and Iron Maiden and those older bands that use occult imagery like pretty heavily.
Black metal, death metal.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just do it for attention, honestly. I mean, I don't know. I think maybe they're really Saint worshippers. I went to one of their shows. It was a little scary. I don't know. Like, I mean, it was really cool. I think that's what it is. It's a cool factor. It's like a rebellious thing. It's like, well, I don't want to think, like, a lot of people are like, I don't want to say that I go to church on Sundays and I'm really nice to my parents who's going to listen to my metal music. I got to be like Hail Satan and put my horns up. And, I think it might be like kind of like like a fashionable thing. I don't know if any of these people really are Satan worshipers, or I don't know why metal gets,
it could be like just a marketing thing too. Like with bands like Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper is definitely not worshiping Satan, but he has a lot of occult imagery in his stage show, and it's a marketing technique for him.
Right.
To get people out to spend.
There's a couple bands like that where they're like all Christians, but they get pentagrams on stage. I mean, I think it's like Nick said, it's that, and then like our band, we've had all different people from all different spiritual and religious backgrounds behind the masks, and like, so we don't claim anything one way or the other, and like our symbol is like from alchemy, which is like science, like old-fashioned science.
Right.
So
I noticed it.
I don't know. Yes.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to answer.
People do accuse me. They do accuse me of being like, I've had people write to me and say repent. I'm like, what? And then they're like,
my next question.
Are you a Satan worshiper? And I go, well, why would you ask me that? And then they go, well, I saw a shirt you were wearing. I'm like, well, that's just a shirt. But I also say, if you're religious and you're Christian or something, like, remember, Jesus doesn't want you judging. And then they're like, oh, you're right, and they're cool with me. So it's like a pretty quick subject, but like, it does happen all the time.
Yeah. Right. And thank you guys for answering that. It is the subject of the show, and I just kind of wanted to get you guys' 2 cents, because I've been seeing it kind of pop up a lot with relation to metal music lately. So is there anything else you guys want to promote on the show about Hail Sagan?
Well, like I said earlier, our website is hailsaganofficial.com. All of our social media is on there. We're currently doing a giveaway on Instagram, so it's Hail Sagan Official. We're giving away a shirt, a bracelet, a guitar pick. I think something else. So basically, if you share the photo and tag it and all that stuff, you have a chance to win on May 1st.
Nice.
Nice. Nick, anything else that we have going on?
I don't think so. I guess just keep checking up
tour soon, right? And as soon as we're allowed to announce it, we'll announce it. But we do assure you that we will be coming around this summer.
Cool.
Awesome.
And
That's awesome.
there's a lot of stuff happening. We just can't like announce it all at once, unfortunately. So
Yeah,
it's
we
like,
totally
No,
understand.
yeah, we see you guys are growing, so there's definitely a buzz, and our good friend Brooklyn and our good friend Shay, we're very excited to get you guys on the show. So we gotta send them out a shout out and much love, much thanks to them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, they're listening right now, and so is our good friend Jerry over there. So everybody say hello.
Hi, guys.
Well, we would love to, have you guys back on for whatever updates or just kind of keep in touch with us, and we'd love to see where you guys are. We're gonna definitely follow you guys. So yeah, Nick Sagan, thank you for calling in tonight and talking to us. We've got your song.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Dark Cloud here to play. We also have Just a Secret. We're going to go ahead and play both for our listeners. And listeners right now, please be sure to check out Hail Sagan on all social media platforms and YouTube. Please don't forget to subscribe and follow so you can keep up with the
And we'll follow back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Guys, that's actually really cool. So, thanks again. Be safe on everything that you guys do. Keep an
Yes.
eye out on all the announcement listeners because they're going to be announcing some more tours. So yeah, cool.
And keep coming with the great ideas. I love
Yeah,
everything
totally
I've
love
heard so
it.
far.
Very, very ingenious.
We will. We promise.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you again for calling in, and we will talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Good.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.